All right, we're going to do a quick speed round of recent Memphis and Shelby County business. So I'm going to talk fast here. 5 Memphis Shelby County school board members will be on the 2026 ballot. All of them will be, but these ones are potentially important because they're cutting their terms 2 years short because of a change in aligning local elections. They feel they are being punished for voting to oust former Superintendent Marie Fagans. Well, now the district and the board are suing the Election Commission over it, claiming it is unconstitutional. Also, this week was a win for Memphis firefighters. City Council passed a 2% raise this week that caused quite a rift between government leaders and first responders. But now Memphis Mayor Paul Young said the city is dropping its countersuit with the firefighters union over it. And then lastly, a bit of a bummer for environmental advocates in Memphis. The Shelby County Pollution and Control Board voted to allow Elon Musk's XAI permits to stand after those environmental groups claimed the Shelby County Health Department unlawfully approved permits for the supercomputer's use of gas turbines in South Memphis. Lane, I'll have you kick it off here. Let's go back to the MSCS board members suing the Election Commission. So do they have a fair fight because their terms are being cut short? But how do you think the ruling could go?
I think if you talk to anybody about this, people say this ruling could go either way. I don't think anyone would be surprised if the ruling is in favor of the board members or if it's against the board members. In no way am I surprised that there's a lawsuit. I think this was very predictable that they would file a lawsuit. But I think the timing is curious. They've been discussing a lawsuit since July. And I think similar to the Marie Fagans lawsuit, I think they're trying to time this lawsuit in such a way to require or to put the judiciary in a position to issue an injunction, which would probably allow all of these board members, or the board members who were elected in 24 probably would not have to run if there's an injunction. And I think that's really what they're looking for here in the short term is an injunction. And obviously they want a ruling that wouldn't require them to run this time. I think it's 50-50 how the ruling goes.
Yeah, Otis, did you want to say anything about that note?
Again, we were talking off camera. I feel sorry for the Election Commission and Administrator Linda Phillips because they're being sued and all they're doing is just doing their jobs. It was the Shelby County Commission that shortened these terms after getting the go-ahead to do it from the state legislature. So I just feel sorry for the Election Commission.
And one big question for the court is how you define these school board positions. Are they county officials or not? It's the county school board, but it's the Board of Education. So, you know, we've been through this before when the county limited the terms of county officials, but a state court ruling, I believe it was the state Supreme Court, said that the court clerks were state officials, whereas the register, the trustee, the assessor, the sheriff, the mayor were county officials. So the court clerks are not term limited, but the other county officials are term limited because they're county officials, not state officials. So how are these board members viewed? Are they county officials? Are they school board officials?
Technicalities really matter here. So let's change a little bit to the firefighter pay raises. Otis, is this sparking hope for a cohesive, cordial relationships between the city and its workers? Because that was a kind of point of contention for a bit.
Oh, I think it is. I mean, you saw Mayor Paul Young and Thomas Malone together the other day, and it seems like there was some detente there. But really, the city council had no choice here. The public sentiment was clearly on the side of the firefighters. They were promised 5%. They got 3%, and now you're trying to renege on 2%, and then did it in a very acrimonious way by making some unfortunate language, which we won't repeat here. But I just think that it was a smart thing for them to do it because I think the public was on the firefighter side, and I think that the firefighters are happy about this, and I think everybody should breathe a sigh of relief.
Okay, we can all agree on that one, maybe?
I think the firefighters are extremely popular. If you ask an average Memphian what they think are the two most important services, they're going to say fire and police.
Absolutely.
But the firefighters, I would say, are probably the most popular city officials there are. So I think that this was a no-brainer. I'm surprised it took this long.
Me too.
Yeah, in my experience, firefighters are always really easy to work with the media as well. So Sam, our XAI expert, I want to say. So the environmental groups really, did they stand a chance at all in their fight to, go against these permits for those gas turbines? And also, how can XAI's investment in Memphis be a win-win for all?
So it's a great questions plural. So first, to back people up, really this fight boiled down to two sets of turbines, okay? And what the environmental groups and NAACP and Gifton Green we're pushing for here was essentially that the existing turbines that are at XAI today, which there are 12, the company said this week, that have an air emissions permit, that permit be stayed because there were 30 on the site for about a year that didn't have an air emissions permit. And that's what the whole fight was about. And so what the Air Pollution Control Board essentially said was, well, we're not sure if Shelby County allowing you not to have an air emissions permit for a year for these 30 turbines was the right move. But because that situation's been rectified, we're not going to get rid of this permit, which appears to be compliant and appears to be the right thing. And so really the interesting thing that came out of that hearing is, no, it was very unlikely XAI was going to lose their permits, right? But the thing that came out of that hearing is the Air Pollution Control Board saying, well, Shelby County Health Department, we're not entirely certain you did the right thing here in terms of allowing these turbines, the 30 plus that existed without air emissions permit, existed without pollution controls. Those things maybe should have had that air emissions permit, and that pollution should have been watched better. And XAI's attorney, Danny Van Horn, said a really interesting thing. The law is essentially clear as mud on the issue. And so the health department lawyers said, oh, we did the right thing. The facts are, that's what they said. But XAI having that omission was a super interesting thing. And this whole fight that we fought for over a year that ended in July, we're like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, no, that's an important breakdown. But yeah, any win-wins here that now that they're kind of here, they're here to stay, the permits are going to be here, they're allowed. Yeah, how can the public get more behind XAI?
Well, I mean, I just think that the activists are going to continue to do what they do, and they're going to continue to criticize. And they have a right to do that. I do think that XAI has tried to ingratiate itself in the community by putting money into infrastructures and helping out with schools and roads and things of that nature. So I just think that, we got XAI. Let's live with XAI.
And I think XAI is a huge positive for the community. The salaries over there are $35 an hour is what they're paying the employees. There are hundreds of construction jobs associated with XAI. They've built 2 of these Colossus supercomputers. They're going to build more. And the construction workers have jobs in perpetuity there. This is an ongoing process, and they have to replace so many parts out here. This is just a great win for the community. It's an investment of 3 to 4 times what Blue Oval City is. It's over $20 billion already invested in this community.
At the expense of health, but okay, last point.
Is it the expense of health? Let's be clear here. So right now in Mississippi, XAI is running more turbines that operated at Paul R. Lowry, okay? At the same time, the XAI turbines that are on site now down at Paul R. Lowry at Colossus 1 have far less emissions, or projected to have, than Valero, than the airport, other stuff. Like, how does the environmental impact change over time as their operations scale? Like, it's not exactly like we injected the largest polluter period forever here. Did they pollute a lot for a period of time? Very possible. But like, there are real other polluters in this community, and XAI over time maybe is going to be a medium-sized polluter. And they have yet to use a real amount of water. It's just like,
we have to take everything into account.
These are natural gas turbines. This is not a coal-fired plant or something like that. They're natural gas, which is very clean.
Okay, all right.
And we did, the last thing, we did lose in our community the coal-fired power plant that existed for decades right near XAI. Okay, so we have lost that over the last 20 years. Like, net pollution, like, just anyway.
And that's why you are the XAI expert, so we're happy to have you on here. All right, you talked about Blue Oval City, you mentioned it, and that's exactly what we're going to get into after the break.